Community Viewpoint.
Camera. And welcome once again to Community Viewpoint. I'm John Pawlak, your host for this segment. And since this is October, it's getting on in the month. One of our programs we save for the month of October is with Scott Lewis, our fire chief, or someone from his department, because of this being Fire Prevention Month. And as we will see in just a second, we have Scott Lewis, our fire chief, with us today. So thanks for stopping by, Scott.
It's great to be here, John.
So we've got a lot to talk about. We only have 12 minutes left to speak about that. Why do we have Fire Prevention Month? Week. I'm sorry.
Well, no, fire prevention is just a great tool for us to remind the public and especially our school-age children to remember and practice fire safety, and also take the message home to their families and to engage in certain practices. And in this particular month, this year's motto is to not every hero wears a cape, so practice fire escape, and that is very, very important to have not only the plan, but also to incorporate the practice in as well.
And your department goes into the schools. They've done that already this month?
They have. They've been out there for the last 2 weeks visiting each of the schools, targeting the younger folks, and just having a great time with it. And the kids really appreciate it. They really like seeing the apparatus and
oh my God, yes.
Getting to see the firefighters don their SCBA and their equipment. And in some cases, they even have one of the teachers dress up, so they know that.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
To see those uniforms on a person, not to be afraid.
And one of the best things to do is to let the kids come home with the message, and they can shame the parents. Yeah. That's the best way to do it a lot of times. One of the biggest no-nos is batteries for the fire and smoke detectors. If they're chirping, how do you repair that? You don't repair that by taking the battery out. You do that by replacing it. And by having Fire Prevention Month, you do it at least that time of the year, replace the battery, and then in the spring also you recommend, right?
Every 6 months is a really good idea to change those batteries.
And a lot of the homes here also have propane for heat, and something else called a carbon monoxide detector. You can get those at Home Depot, Do It Best Hardware, or probably, I think I've seen them at Home Depot also. They're inexpensive, but that is a lifesaver as well.
There's also the ability to make sure your fire extinguishers are in place, everyone in the family knows how to operate them, and that they're in charge, and make sure that the maintenance has been maintained on them.
Right. I have one that's sitting above the range in the kitchen. Not that I cook a lot, but that would be good for me. And there's one upstairs also in the main hallway. Also with smoke detectors, if they're new homes, they're in every bedroom, hallways, kitchen. But with the older homes, the best thing to do is basically have them in the bedrooms, and definitely in the kitchen too.
If it's an older style home, you want to upgrade the system, make sure it's hardwired with battery backup minimum, and there's so many different models now that they even have the built-in carbon monoxide and also scene illumination. Okay. So if it's dark for whatever reason, or there's smoke filled, there's piercing light. So there's a lot of things you can incorporate in your detectors.
Yes, because as we get older, we can't hear too well either, so maybe a flashing light would help us. So what else do you attribute to? Well, we know how that started with Chicago, with the Great Chicago Fire. That's where I was born. But that was in the 1800s, and well, we don't want to get into that, but we've talked about that for many years. But that's what started the Fire Protection Week and the Fire Protection Month. I believe it was October 6th was the fire, and that's the week of Fire Protection Week, wherever the 6th of October falls in. So what else would you be looking at?
It falls in for a perfect time of year for us, because now we also have Halloween coming up. So we have the safety features that need to be addressed with our kids to make sure that they're walking on the sidewalks, make sure their costumes are fire resistant, fire retardant materials. They're highly reflective. They have their flashlights with them. Mm-hmm. They travel in groups. We want to make sure that they're not focused on their cell phones or other electronic devices, that they're watching where they walk, and make sure they clearly don't run out in the street, because there's so much vehicular traffic mixed in with the pedestrians. And I just want to make sure we have a really great, safe Halloween.
Yes. Well, luckily, well, we have a big rural area, a big valley here, and it's not like the big city. Like I'm from Chicago, in the neighborhoods, people are walking, kids are walking from block to block, and there's a lot of problems crossing streets over there. Here, they tend to congregate in places like the Nye Communities Coalition. Patrick, no, Patrick didn't have it. Ian Deutsch Park had something. They had something at the library last night, and we'll have something next week. So the parents will take them to specific places, and they won't be wandering around. So it's good for what we do out here.
The trunk or treats are really good ideas because it keeps the folks and the kids in a centralized area where they can be protected. The situational awareness is already established, and some of the areas that you mentioned were excellent in the hospital. Also up in Frontage Road, usually near the fireworks store, there's trunk or treat going on there, and then I know the Mountain Falls Clubhouse is also doing it.
Oh, the GM dealer, I just read that in the newspaper too. They have doings every year too.
And they do a great job. They set it up real nice, and again, the safety is the most important factor.
Mm-hmm. Hopefully you'll go home with a Silverado or something. No, I don't think so. But what else are we going to talk about this evening? Oh, since it's the fall. Yeah, it's burn season again?
It will be, yeah. That is highly anticipated.
Not by you?
No, not for us, but we have a number of folks that are already trying to come in and get their burn permits. They've already been doing some unauthorized controlled burns, and unfortunately, we've had some bad results already. So
that being what?
Fires. Unwanted fires.
Actual fires?
Going to structures, going to other people's property. Yeah. And so I have to point out, if you can hear the beeping in the background, that is the owner of the studio, the TV station here, is actually out doing his batteries on his smoke detectors, which is awesome. We came in today, found some areas of opportunity there, so you can actually hear them in the background.
So it's good that I have Scott once a year here.
Yeah, it's good. We get those inspections done. So the burns are going to open on Monday, the 28th.
Okay.
And so anyone who wants to do some burning of the materials on their property, it does not include household trash, papers, anything along those lines. It is simply just waste vegetation that's accumulating in small manageable piles. And so you have to come into fire station number 1, which is located across from Home Depot on Highway 160. You'll acquire a permit if you own the property. You can show proof of insurance. You'll speak with Jennifer. She'll get you set up. There's no cost for the permit. In the event, you have to follow the rules very specific to the times and the days you can burn, and what would involve the extinguishing of fires if the wind's kicked up or the fuel load is too high. So one of the things we have to do is make sure that we follow those rules, and of course there are certain hours in which we can do those burns. It's never after hours and darkness and things like that.
And the maximum miles per hour for wind is usually?
Yeah, it's usually anywhere from the 8 to 10 miles per hour, but it was something we're very cautious with.
Otherwise it's not really manageable because the embers will be blowing all over the place.
Right.
So
anyway, that's going to open up on Monday, and so you'll come in and get a permit. There won't be a cost to you, and then if we are called to your house and you're burning outside the scope, you are subject to fines and penalties.
Okay. You do enforce those, right?
We do. We have to. And there's just been too many bad situations that have unfolded as a result of controlled burns that get beyond the scope of the burn permit or the ordinance.
Right. Now the folks should remember that if you have a trailer or a pickup truck, you can bring all your dead limbs to the landfill. It's free to do that. You pay for it in your taxes, and they're open 7 days a week. Yes.
And they can repurpose it.
Yeah.
And they can mulch it.
Yeah. So that's another option that you suggested they do, and for safety reasons. Yes.
Yeah.
So be careful when you do that. So that starts on what'd you say, the 28th?
28th on Monday.
Okay.
And so we're watching the weather conditions. It should be good for that day. So we anticipate a significant number of people burning on that first day because we've had a lot of inquiries.
Oh, you have? Okay.
We have, yeah. So our crews will be out. If there's any questions or concerns, or you see something that's outside the scope of the ordinance or the unauthorized burning, call 911, report it, and we'll go out and make sure we enforce the contents of the permit.
Are there any things we're looking at that are different now that there's been an influx of people moving into the valley? Has anything been changing since I've been here for 20 years? and I know things have changed, but with the people coming in from California and Las Vegas, we have people in the established neighborhoods now. Did things change?
Yeah, there's quite a few changes. One of the immediate considerations is the traffic.
Oh,
It's
okay.
taking us longer to get to our locations for the emergencies. Our major corridors, we're adding some additional traffic control devices, which is meant for safety, but that kind of slows us down a tad. And then just the number of vehicles and the hours that the vehicles are out on the roadway.
Yes. Yeah, I didn't mean to bring that up, but that's a good thing I thought about that. Yeah, because what is the rule on that? If you see somebody like a 160 coming in your direction, if there's a median in the front that they can't cross over,
Then they don't have to pull over on the other side, but if there's not, they're supposed to pull to the right and come to a complete stop.
complete stop.
And if there's activity on the highway, such as a traffic accident, a police stop, something along those lines, you're supposed to get out of that lane closest to them and move to the furthest lane and slow down.
Yes. So that's some of the safety features, not only for you, but for the driver in the ambulance or the fire truck. They may be going to save your house, so you want them to get there as quick as possible.
Yeah, and just responding to the medical events, we're just seeing a significant rise in our medical calls only because again, more people, more medical related issues, and so we're redefining our responses as necessary and trying to determine what our resource allocation would look like. So we're always working on our plans for over the next several years to see where we're going to grow and how we're going to make that growth happen.
So you have to, every new home, you don't have to inspect every new home?
No, we don't have to do the inspections on private residences. That's done through Buildings and Safety as part of the State Fire Marshal's office. And the agreement with the county, we have to go out and inspect on an annual basis commercial structures.
Okay. So in closing, any thoughts?
Yeah, just, parents, check your kids' candy bags, make sure that the wrappers are intact. Try to really make sure that the wrappers are appropriate to the use of the kids. A lot of the wrappers mimic the marijuana products that are out there, and just want to make sure there's absolutely no mistakes made. If you see anything out of the ordinary, call 911 or report it to the sheriff's office, or it's a medical or fire related, make sure you call us immediately.
Always be on your toes. Yeah, it just gets worse as we get older and we know more. Sometimes we know less.
Yeah.
But anyway, thank you, Scott, very much
you.
for coming, and hopefully we'll see you before next year. All right, bye.